Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the Jabra Elite 85Ts and compare them to the recently released Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. We're going to do an EBPMAN style call quality test, and you know that we've extended the test in this area. We're also going to do an audio test so you can hear what we hear. And we're also going to talk about all the features, active noise canceling, transparency mode. So let's get right to it. Now, from a battery life perspective, the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro really take it. You're looking at 8 hours of battery life per use, 28 hours with the charging case. 5 minutes is going to give you a 1 hour charge. Compared to the Jabras only have a 7-hour battery life, 25 hours per charge, 15 minutes will give you 1 hour. But in both cases, both of these products, the battery life will vary depending on all the features that you use. Now, if you're focused on the Bluetooth side and you're concerned about syncing for video with audio, you don't have to worry with either one of these. But if you're concerned about which one has the most modern Bluetooth technology, well, the Jabra Elite 85Ts have Bluetooth 5.1. They also have multi-pairing, which means that you can be connected to 2 devices at the same time and it will auto-switch. Now, Samsung has something similar. I'm not going to put it into the actual multi-connect because it's really limited to Samsung devices. So I won't give them the multi-pairing or the multi-connect for that reason, and they're also using Bluetooth 5.0. Now, from a connectivity perspective and independent use, yeah, the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro actually have it. They can be used independently. You can use one in one ear, one in the other, and they work for phone calls as well and for music. The Jabras, you can't. Now, from an auto pause perspective, the Jabras take the cake in this area. The Samsung Galaxy Buds do not have an auto pause feature. Now, from an ANC perspective, the Jabra Elite 85Ts do take it when it comes to specs. They have 11 levels of ANC, but that doesn't mean that they perform better. It doesn't mean that they have better ANC. That is still something that we have to test. But from a spec perspective, they have 11 levels. Now, compared to these two, from a passive noise canceling, which one gives you the best seal? They both do fantastically well, and both of them have active noise canceling. Now, from an auto transparency mode, I will give it to the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. And it's because they not only have transparency mode, but then they also have the ability to auto enable and disable transparency. So literally, as soon as you start speaking, if you have active noise canceling on, or if you don't have active noise canceling at all, but you have the earbuds on, it detects your voice and then it allows you to hear who you are speaking to. In addition to that, I call it the super hearing setting. It has transparency mode plus, which increases your actually hearing. Now, from a mic perspective, from a specs, again, we see that the Jabra Elite have more mics. You're looking at 6 mics when it comes to the overall unit. That compared to the Samsung, which only has 3. But even though I give them the check because they have more mics, you have to listen to the call quality test to see which one is the best. Now, from an IPX rating, I have to give it to Samsung. Samsung has an IPX rating of 7, and Jabra, unfortunately, only has an IPX rating of 4. Now, from an audio perspective, we'll give it to Samsung, but we still have to prove it. They have 3D sound. So the Samsung Galaxy Buds have included 3D sound, and we'll be able to test it once we get our S21, but it's going to be very similar to what you see in Apple. And if it has that type of quality, it's going to have a superior sound experience. Now, one of the things that I will say that I wanted to mention about the Jabra is that Jabra has something that Samsung does not, in the app, that is. And that is audio tuning to your hearing. So it does go through a hearing test and allows you to tune your audio experience based on what you're hearing. So that is unique. But again, the 3D sound, I think, is cooler for Samsung. Now, from a venting perspective, if you ever have earbuds and you put them in your ear and you get like this pressure, especially when you enable active noise canceling, both of these have venting. So no worries with either one of these. Now, from a wireless charging perspective, both of them wireless charge too. Now, as you take a closer look at the cases themselves, there are some differences. And while both are small, I have to say that the Samsung does a better job for when it comes to size. I do like the packaging. I do like that they're smaller. Both of them have USB-C charging ports, which is great for both of these. Both of these support wireless charging, and both of them have magnetic locking. So when you put your earbuds in the case, they're not going to fall out. They're guided, right? And when you put them in, you definitely know that they're charging. You don't have to worry about them. Both of them have LEDs, but I'll say that I like the form factor of the Samsung just a slight bit more. Now, as we take a look at the earbuds, there are some similarities, but there's also great differences. Take a look at the design. I have to say that my favorite earbud from a fit perspective, hands down, across all the earbuds that I've tested on the channel, were the Jabra Elite 75Ts. They fit great. But they changed the design with the 85Ts, and you can notice that they're a little bit chunkier, and they don't really fit the same. You'll notice here, as we look at the Samsung ones, they have a different design. They also have, when you look at the actual earpiece itself, the amount of, I would say, the gel that goes deeper in your ear seems to be greater than what you have from the Jabras. I find that from a fit perspective, I prefer the actual Samsung ones more. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on so you can take a look. I feel that they're more secure. I feel that they do, right out of the box, they just feel a lot more comfy. If we take a look at the Jabras, the Jabras aren't bad too, but I just find that they don't fit as comfortable. So let's go ahead and turn so you can see what the profile looks like. Right. Now, from a passive noise canceling, they do fantastic. I may be speaking a little bit louder because as soon as you put these on, you do get a really good seal. But once again, they're very comfortable. From an extended use, they both can be used for a very long time. So you have no problems there. So it really going to come down to personal preference, the way they look and the way they feel. And just remember that you can always tailor your feel based on the earbuds you choose. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is how do they sound from an audio perspective. Both of these have some really mature apps, and I'll say that on both of these, I tend to turn on the bass boost. So we have an EBPMAN style call quality and audio test. And in the audio test, you'll be able to hear how these sound. My preference for both of these really goes down to the fit combined with audio. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the Samsung right now just because of the fit. But from an audio perspective, I want to say that they're really, really close. You have basses present, mids and highs are there, you have trebles there, so they both sound really good, and they both have configuration options so that you can personalize it to what you would like. Now, one thing I will give Samsung, and why I'm leaning slightly towards Samsung, is that Samsung has a 2-speaker implementation. So you have a subwoofer or a woofer and a tweeter. So you have a woofer-tweeter combination. But the Jabra actually have a larger speaker. You're looking at a 12mm speaker versus an 11. But again, Samsung has that separation, which I think gives it a slight edge. So how does active noise canceling and transparency mode? Well, from an active noise canceling, I'll tell you, I'm not one that actually turns on active noise canceling a lot on. Typically with putting them on the seal is fine. If I fly, which I haven't flown in a while now, I typically turn on active noise canceling, but I'd say that they both perform really well. Even though Jabra has 11 levels of active noise canceling and Samsung only has 2, I don't find that there's that much of a difference when it comes to performance. The 11, even though you have 11 levels and it's great to have those, I don't think it gives it as much of an edge from an experience perspective. Maybe from a spec perspective it does, but it really doesn't give it that much edge. Now, from a transparency mode, I do feel that the transparency mode on the Samsung ones are much better. I just like the fact that I can boost it. I love the fact that it almost gives you like that super hearing, that you can have that boost plus. Jabra doesn't have that. Next, let's do our audio test. Make sure you're wearing some headphones or earbuds so that you can get the full experience.
Days without water along the sun-soaked road. We crossed over border. Days without water along the sun-soaked road. We crossed over border.
Now we're going to do our call quality test to make sure that you have some headphones or earbuds on so you can get the full call experience. Now we're testing out the Jabra Elite 85Ts in a quiet environment. As you can see here, that our decibel readings are pretty low. Anywhere between 17 and 20 decibels in noise. It's going to switch. And this is what the call quality would sound like when making a phone call on the Jabra Elite 85Ts in a quiet environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what the Jabra Elite 85T sound like in a quiet environment. Now, we're going to add some wind to this environment. Now, this is what the Jabra Elite 85Ts sound like with wind. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what they sound like with wind. So guys, now we're testing out the Jabra Elite 85Ts with the face mask on. This is what the Jabra Elite 85Ts sound like with the face mask on. Now we're testing out the Jabra Elite 85Ts in a noisy environment, and as you can see by our decibel readings, things have changed quite a bit. We're looking at anywhere from 40 all the way up to 80 decibels in noise. What we're going to do is we're going to switch to the Jabras, we're going to stay quiet to see how much they're canceling, and then we'll do the vocal test. Let's go and switch. Now this is what the Jabra Elite 85Ts sound like in a noisy environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what they sound like in a noisy environment. Now we're testing out the Jabra Elite 85Ts in a environment with a child crying in the background. This is what they sound like with a child crying in the background. Now this is what the Jabra Elite 85Ts sound like with a dog barking in the background. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. Now this last test is with the doorbell ringing in the background. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. And this is our test. Now we're testing out the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro in a quiet environment. As you take a look at our decibel readings, again, anywhere between 17 and 22 decibels in noise. Let's go and switch. Now this is what the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro sound like in a quiet environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. Now let's go ahead and add some wind to this environment. This is what the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro sound like with wind in the environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro sound like with wind in the environment. Now we're testing the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro with a face mask on. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. This is what they sound like with the face mask on. Now we're testing the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro now in a much noisier environment. As you can see, our decibel readings are anywhere from 40 to 80 decibels in noise. Let's go ahead and switch, and then we'll stay quiet for a second to see how much is canceled. This is what the Samsung Galaxy Buds sound like in a noisy environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. Next, let's move on to some household noise. Now we're testing out the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro, but this time with an infant crying in the background. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is our test. Now we're switching things up in our test, but this time with the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro with a dog barking in the background. This is our test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. Now we're testing out the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro, but with the doorbell ringing in the background. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is a test. So guys, that wraps up our review of the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro compared to the Jabra Elite 85Ts. Which one is your preference? I'm saying I am leaning towards the Samsung ones because of a couple things. First of all, the feel. I think that the fit is better. I do like that the battery life is longer. And one game-changing feature for me, believe it or not, is going to be that auto transparency mode. You don't know how many times Nilda comes and taps me on the shoulder because I'm not listening, and then I have to do something to start talking, and the fact that I can just speak and hear myself and hear the other person is a game changer for me. So I'm kind of leaning towards this one, guys, but as you know, all it takes is maybe a couple firmwares, maybe the next release before the Jabras come on top again. I still will have these with me, and I'll still use them, but I'm leaning more towards the Samsung.